Hello, Taurus, and welcome to May. This is kind of your season. We start off the month with all planets direct, other than Pluto and Aquarius, which is going retrograde on May 5th, but is here to stay. It will not go back into Capricorn in our lifetimes. Mercury is out of shadow, and Venus is out of shadow by May 26th in Aries, right when Saturn moves right on in. And also Neptune is here as well in Aries. Saturn will remain in Aries from May 26th until April 13th, 2028, so about roughly 3 years, along with this newly entered Neptune. Neptune moved in March 31st, I believe. Neptune will stay in your Aries house for 14 years. We'll do a little retrograde going back into Pisces and then finally settle into Aries next January. The next few weeks will just show Saturn dipping its toe into this new energy, and then Saturn too will retrograde on July 14th this summer to finish up some remaining business in your Pisces. Let me check on that. Yeah, your Pisces 11th house, before coming back into Aries, your 12th house of spirituality, past lives, deep creativity, sacrifice, isolation, foreign shores, foreign money, deep, inspiration, deep healing. And the 12th house is also where we find not only empathy for others, but you can also start, nonprofits. You see nonprofit work and humanitarian work there as well. And we'll stay until, Saturn moves back in direct November 28th, 2025, and we'll stay until April 2028. Don't worry about the dates. I'm writing them all for you in the description box down below. Saturn naturally rules the 10th house as Aquarius' ancient ruler in your chart, but also rules the 9th house of Capricorn. With the ruler of the 9th and 10th going into the 12th, you could be the one initiating changes with regard to your spiritual beliefs, exploring new belief systems, religion, spiritual philosophies, or taking something traditional in nature. But you can also give it a new twist as a way to make money over the next couple years if you were thinking of earning money in a different way. Because this initial shift is being supported by Pluto and Aquarius from your 10th house of career, father figures, legacy, name and fame, and how the public knows you and views you, over to Uranus, which is sitting at the edge of your first house of physical body and overall life in general. The first house, affects all the other important angles, which would be the 7th, 4th, and 10th. But Uranus is getting ready to leave your first house, and I'm sure you're relieved for that because Uranus probably hasn't been the happiest in Taurus. You're a fixed earth sign. The good news is it's getting ready to move into your Gemini second house of banking and income for the next 7 years, probably very much changing the way that you earn money, what you value, and even land and property. But Uranus will be much happier in Gemini and can do better work there. Both Uranus and Pluto will be trining each other and then also flowing to Saturn and Neptune in your 12th house and a positive sextile of support. So all in all, there is this early degree outer planet support triangle, helping you transition and change how you make money, the way that you want to make money, incorporating a healing story or empathetic vibe to the work that you do, incorporating your spiritual beliefs. You could be starting a long course of study that will require you to be alone so that you can focus and learn something new. This course of study may be to increase a skill set so that you can do something altogether different for work, like going back to school to obtain a master's degree, for example, or becoming a therapist or a psychologist, or you could be developing a creative or spiritual business, a tarot or astrology business as a few examples, as Uranus rules those areas. And once that transit is over, the student becomes the teacher, especially since we will have Jupiter moving into Leo by July 2026 until July 2027. And at that time, during that time frame that Jupiter will be in Leo, will be trining Saturn in Aries from your 4th of home and family and property, and could also show the emergence of a home-based business and one that is more healing and authentic for you because of Neptune in the mix. That time frame could also show the completion of that learning if you are undergoing a course of study, either formal or informal. This is a time of healing, learning, or developing something behind the scenes that you're starting now. Maybe it's only like the seed of an idea initially. Again, as we only have Saturn kind of dipping its toe into Aries from May 26th to July 14th. And then it goes back into Pisces, your 11th house, to finish up something in the realm of the groups that you belong to, your friendships, dreams, goals, and networks, before settling back into that 12th house of rest, seclusion, spirituality by November 28th of this year, to stay again until April 2028. So roughly the next 3 years. Again, I'll write these dates down in the description box below. Early degree Taurus are feeling this the most right now. Funny enough, I look at progressions and chart progressions, and my progressed ascendant is actually at 0 degrees Taurus, which is pretty profound. And I do find progressions to resonate. But anyway, I digress. I'm not going to go off on a tangent about myself. So early degree Tauruses are feeling this the most right now, around 0 to 5 or 6 degrees. But for later degree Taurus, sun, moon, or rising, maybe it's just the dream or inspiration at this moment, but not for too long, as Saturn starts to move through Aries. You'll be feeling the call to put your dreams and new plans into action in a structured, solid, and tangible way. With Saturn here, there's always an effort required, but he will always leave you a gift at the door when he moves on, as long as you don't try to take the shortcut or the easy way out. Saturn always requires you to A, put in time and effort, B, don't take a shortcut, C, do things consistently. Some of the other things this could look like, I think, with Uranus moving into Gemini, your second house of banking, self-earned wealth, property, teeth, diet, face, throat, and self-worth, and what we value, and Pluto and Aquarius in the 10th, you could be wanting to do something different with regard to your appearance. You could even be making changes to your face, your teeth, etc. And this could also end up presenting a different you to the public in that public 10th house as well. Again, there will be changes in the way that you earn money, and it could definitely be unique with Uranus, the innovator here. It could look like taking like a spiritual practice or learnings from your 9th house and the 12th. The 9th represents our belief systems, higher education, religion, travel, to name a few. And then turning this into a money-making opportunity, like writing a book on astrology, writing a book, or starting to teach about religion or religious experiences. Maybe you've traveled the world and have come in contact with different cultures and different religions, and now you want to, talk about that or start a podcast series. You could develop something with regard to your faraway travels if you're somebody well-traveled who has, extensively gone to other countries, or again, learn from different cultures during those travels. And now you want to take that information and develop it into like a podcast, travel blog, ebook, or using the internet more while you're in isolation in some type of way to earn money. Well, Saturn is transiting this 12th house of solitude for the next 3 years. Uranus is a sign that represents the internet, and Saturn sitting in the 12th house can also restrict foreign travel over the next 3 years, as the 12th house is also a foreign travel house, among many other things that it represents. But again, you could be connecting with new groups or finding friends or career opportunities, and this could maybe be more through the internet, again, because I can see some kind of isolation going on, but I think one that you wouldn't mind, because we have this outer planet support at this time. Last but not least, and I'm starting to repeat myself a bit here, but a teacher or a guru can appear with the Lord of the 9th transiting the 12th, and it could be related to like a long course of study or learning from a spiritual teacher, a spiritual practice. They can be somebody older than you. It could be karmic with the Lord of Karma here. They could be from a past life or from another country as well. Most definitely they would be from a different country, because we see the 9th and the 12th house is highlighted, and they're both foreign houses. You could be learning from this person online through the internet, with Saturn sitting in the 12th, as you may not be physically traveling far. Saturn creates restrictions and blockages wherever he sits, not forever though. You could also have sudden opportunities show up with Uranus moving into your second house to make money through friends, with siblings, your local neighborhood. Like you and a friend decide to pool resources to start a business as an example. Maybe it's a land investment. Maybe it has something to do with farming, as the second house represents land and farming and property. Also, on an interesting note, wherever Saturn goes, again, he restricts, makes you put in the effort, but again, not without rewarding you after you put in the work. So again, I think initially this work that you may be doing in isolation or behind the scenes over the next few years might be a little bit smoother, or again, might even be welcomed or with less difficulty. With the planet of transformation, which is Pluto, and then Uranus making nice aspects to Neptune and Saturn, sitting newly moved in your 12th house. You can also tighten up debts, as the 12th house represents debts both karmically from past lives, but also literally. So Saturn being here can actually be a good thing. Also, if you had any addictions, Saturn can put a stop to that, block that, show you where you've been wasting time, energy, or hurting your health. Neptune in the 12th can show our addictions or what we're addicted to. And that could run the gamut from like gambling, shopping, too much Netflix, mindless doom scrolling on Instagram, too many tarot readings, or other serious things. Saturn can crystallize things that have been unseen, and the 12th house is an unseen or nebulous house. Sorry, my child is yelling at his brother. Hold on one moment. Make-A-Wish Taurus, I paused that right at 11:11. And what am I talking about? The 12th house. And that represents dreams. Okay, so Saturn can crystallize maybe where you are wasting time on such things and help you put an end to such patterns. Again, sorry, I had to pause. And prior to that, I know I was talking about the 12th house and addictions and things like that. I think I'll leave it here for now, but I really like the shift of the outer planets, especially because they're flowing to each other, talking to each other, and getting along to help you move into this new phase in your life, which is definitely starting as these big planets are making shifts into entirely new houses for you. And this becomes especially prominent when we have outer planets shift onto our important angles, such as you are now having Pluto moving into the 10th house and looking over at the 4th. Our other big angles are the 1st and the 7th. And then you've also had Uranus, which is another outer planet, sitting on your ascendant for the past 7 years or so, getting ready to leave your first house. Definitely that could speak to like a new you, or a very changed you from 7 years prior. And again, Uranus is going to be much happier moving into Gemini. And I know Taurus as a fixed sign doesn't always love change. I have personal planets in Taurus. I can totally resonate with that. But I think when we just embrace it and try to go with the flow a bit more, and Pluto will definitely require that of you, the magic can really take hold. All right, Taurus, take care, and I'll talk to you in June.